I get frustrated trying to buy a chronograph. They're all just too thick. 14.5, 15, heck, some are even 16 millimeters in thickness. The only way to get a classy wearable chrono is either to spend a fortune or to opt for a vintage piece. But today, we got a Swiss timepiece looking to change all of that. It could be the chronograph you've been searching for, but is it any good? Let's find out. Introducing the new Volcane Chronograph 1970's. Yeah, that's not the greatest name, but it looks so good. I think we can forgive it. And for those of you wondering, this brand was formed way back in 1858. But did have a pause in production in the 80s due to the quartz crisis, and near the end of the 90s, they were sold off and had a rebirth in 2002. So a great brand with fantastic history, known for making the president's watches, and ever since the rebirth, they've been hard at work trying to make a comeback, and they still make their timepieces in the watchmaking heart of Switzerland and have proven to be masters in vintage remakes. And let me know how you feel about green watches. This one's an emerald green, semi-gloss, and it looks fantastic, but it's limited to 100 units. And there are 5 other colorways available: a salmon, a blue, 2 different blacks, and a silver panda. There's no bad choices here, but I am really digging that silver panda. So I wore this thing quite a bit before making the review, and I really appreciate its wearability. And it all starts with that case. It features flat, high polished sides complemented by smooth, creamy brushing on the top side. There's also a really subtle high polished bezel, and it accentuates that extremely tall boxed sapphire. You get that vintage acrylic look, all while being scratch resistant and more durable. The caseback has a center sector that is sandblasted with high polished raised lettering. I like the look and prefer the absence of a display caseback. We want to minimize that height under the mid case, but it's okay if we accentuate it on top. Overall, the watch has a very layered, dynamic look, which I'm a big fan of. The Volcane has those classic pump style pushers that feel extremely crispy and are a joy to operate. I know if you buy this watch, you are going to find excuses to time things. Like, oh, I'm going to the bathroom? Start the timer. And speaking of timing things, this is a Bicompact's 30-minute chronograph, and the minute hand jumps instead of gliding to the next register. This is usually an indication of a horizontal clutch, but not always, but usually. And this one does use a cam lever actuation. And if you look really close, you'll notice that the 3, 6, 9 minute markers are elongated, which really helps you read the time at a glance. Now let's do the dimensions. I got 38 millimeters in diameter, a secret measurement of 33, that's the sapphire, and we got a thickness of only 12.6. And we got no drilled lugs and a lug to lug of 46 even. I think it wears great for a chronograph, but you guys be the judge on the faraway shots and let me know how it wears. Now we all know chronographs are not for the water, but this one has some decent resistance coming in at 50 meters, and that rating is achieved in part by that push-pull crown that's signed with the Volcane V logo. Now something that's not great is the loom. The hands have a tiny line down the middle and it fades fast. The loom pips, however, are much stronger, but it doesn't really matter. Speaking of the hands, they look great. The tips, front and back, taper to a point. They are completely high polish, and there is a third taper from the middle downwards, creating a little bit of dimension, and it helps catch the light for improved legibility. But the legibility of those subdials isn't the greatest. Even though it's a high contrasting silver with black text, I still found it tough to read. The 30-minute subdial at 3 has a high-polished arrow-tipped hand, while the 60-second subdial at the 9 just has a flat baton style. The hour markers are similar to the handset. They are applied simple batons with dual batons at the 12, and of course there is a tachometer scale on the perimeter of the dial. But if you look closely, you'll notice a second scale. This chronograph has something we don't see every day. A decimal scale. What's a decimal scale? It divides the 60-minute scale into 100 parts, and that is used to translate time into a decimal number. This is used for easier calculations, but personally, I find it very confusing. Alright, I don't know where my head's at. I completely forgot to talk about the strap. This one is a caramel brown, genuine leather, which usually means it's not. And it's got quick release spring bars coming in at 20 millimeters, tapering down to 16. The buckle has that signed Volcane V with alternating high polish and sand blasted finish. The strap is just okay. I recommend buying a higher quality leather and transferring the buckle over because it's pretty nice. So you may be wondering, why is this chronograph so thin? Well, it's simply because of the movement. It's a manual wind, not an automatic, so you are saving the height of that rotor. This SW510 comes in at 7 millimeters, and it's a modular chronograph. It ticks away at a smooth 4 Hz, and it's got an impressive 63 hours of power reserve. Now let's look at the rate. We had +4 dial up, and now it's looking to be perfect with a little bit of a drop in amplitude and an increase in beat error. So +4 dial up and 0, 12 down on the wrist should be about +2 seconds a day. So well done, Volcane. Now for the big question, what is the price? Well, it's 2,500 Swiss francs, which translates roughly to 2740 USD. I'm gonna say it, that's high. Because when we look at competing mechanical chronographs, for example, the Chronomaster from Nevada Grenchen, that's 1975 USD, or even the Hanhart, same movement and similar sizing, and it comes in at $500 less, but personally, I'm still taking the Volcane over the Hanhart. And even when we look at hand-winding mainstream brands like the new Pioneer from Hamilton, that is only 2,100 USD, which is a big savings. So the Volcane definitely has a vintage reissue tax. You're paying a little bit extra for getting that vintage design, and of course, the extremely limited 100 unit colorway. Is it worth it? I'll let you be the judge. And guys, please remember to like this video, and if you want to watch more, then go ahead and click into one of the 2 I have for you on the right of your screen right now, and I will see you there.